the visceral memory of her crying when that show finished, and I was only about 6. I was like, what is going on here? She says she's happy, but she's bawling. I don't get it. This is unbelievable. Like, this is literally the stuff that you dream about. You dream about one West End show, and I was doing 2 at the same time. It was honestly incredible. Do everything. Don't say no to anything. Do all of the performance opportunities. Do every style of dance. Have singing lessons. Take the acting classes. Do a stagecoach.
Welcome to the first ever episode of Performing in Life, the Trafalgar Education Podcast. It only felt right for our first guest to be somebody who's not only a reputable performer in television and stage, but also has incredibly close ties to Stagecoach Performing Arts. Sophie Isaacs has been on stage as a protester, a bad girl, a princess and a queen, and now she gets to play the part in real life as a Stagecoach Principal. Please put your hands together for Sophie Isaacs. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
How are we?
Very well, thanks.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having
And
me.
I'm excited. The first ever one. I know. I was going to say. How does that feel? You are premiere episode.
I love it. It's an honour.
Yeah. How many premieres have you been to in the past? Because I'm guessing for most shows, obviously you have press nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there any that sort of stood out as something particularly special?
Yes. So when you're part of an original production, which I am very lucky to have been part of lots, the press night is the most exciting thing to be part of. But when I did the Rocky Horror Show, I did an international tour playing Janet. And, there's 2. I've thought of another one. So I was playing Janet, and they do a gala, and it is fantastic. So all of the party is huge. We were they had amazing sponsors, one of which was these huge bottles of Prosecco just everywhere. It was crazy. But they had this audience, and we were all introduced and walked through there was probably 1,000 people there, walked through onto the stage, and each person was introduced. So, and that it was because it was so different. It was amazing. And then I did Hairspray in Asia, and we were in Singapore, and it was my birthday, and the event was sponsored by the car Lexus.
Okay. And
they did the same thing, but it was just the most extravagant press night, gala night. But it was amazing. And it's just but when you've done a show and when you've created a show from the ground up, that gala performance and that premiere, that press night is such a huge achievement, because you go, we did it.
Yeah.
We're here, we did it. It's open, it's there for the public, and we can celebrate all of that hard work. So they are amazing.
Yeah, a milestone, a glamorous milestone.
Very, yes. And I mean, 8,000 ASOS parcels to stage door on a daily basis in the changing room. Shall I wear this? Shall I not? It's all the fun.
What did you end up wearing in the end? Do you remember?
So for the Rocky Horror Show one, I very luckily had got a full-length white dress from ASOS. It was cheap as chips, about 40 quid, but it looks fantastic. I was thrilled. Heather's, I had a lovely, fully embellished sequin jumpsuit. It's very important stuff.
It is. It's very important. But it's all about how you feel on the day as well, isn't it? It's very, very, very good. So let's talk about this full circle moment that's happened. So a principal, or should we say joint principal of Stagecoach Cheltenham, you along with your sister Gemma.
Yeah.
And obviously having been so involved with Stagecoach from such a young age, your mum being a principal, and then you being a student and getting involved in things like our summer showcase and other things like that. How does that feel to now sort of be heading up your very own Stagecoach school?
I'm firstly so proud to be a part of Stagecoach, because, as you said, it's been such an influential and important part of my entire family's lives. But it actually just feels really right to be a principal. And it was always something that my mum, my sister and I always planned and thought, we'll take it on in the future. And it's wonderful that Gemma and I have both had careers, very different careers, but both really support and reflect and help us to be the best principals that we can be, to, guide those students. My sister's been in early years childcare for her whole life. me being on stage, and then those two amalgamating and coming together just feels like the best thing.
Yeah, creates a really good atmosphere.
Yeah.
I can imagine. We should probably talk a little bit about its unusual circumstances.
Yes.
In how you came to be a principal at Stagecoach.
Yeah.
It was always very much in your blood, and it was run by your mum.
Yeah.
Very much supported by your dad.
Yes.
And then sadly your mum passed away last year.
Yeah.
And so how did that feel? Because your mum was a pioneer. She was the most incredible woman. Very, very. She was. If you were to put Stagecoach into a person, that is Sharon Isaacs.
Yeah, she was
and
passionate.
she was incredible. She was passionate. She cared about the children. And me and a few of the other team members, we came along to her funeral, which was the most beautiful funeral and busy.
Yes.
By God, you could not close those doors. And that just goes to show how much she was loved. And we know that carries through, not just in friendships and family, but we know that was part of her Stagecoach school and who she was and what the Stagecoach school was about as well. So how did that feel for you, having to, pick up the reins and go, right, we're doing this for you, Mum? How was that?
I think it really helped with the loss. And I mean, that's going to be something that will take a long time to come to terms with. But it did really sort of give us a focus and to channel, pick up her love and passion for the school and the students and what we, as a community, what we want to build and carry on her legacy, really. And we just knew what we had to do. We opened the following weekend, all of our parents like, what are you doing here? How, but there was no doubt in our minds that we didn't want to show up and be there for our students, our families. Some of the students wrote the most beautiful letters and cards to Mum. And that was just all, I guess, painful, but a really, really amazing reminder of what an incredible woman she is and how important Stagecoach, but how important that principal and that person at the helm is to all of those students. So, yeah, I think it's really, really important for Gemma and I. And we feel so blessed and lucky to still have the school and run it and, like I say, carry on Mum's legacy in the best way we can.
Yeah. Is there an element of commitment that you're like, this is what Mum created, let's take this forward and let's go with it?
100%. Yeah, we want to make it the biggest, the best, the happiest, most creative place that that we can, and keep expanding and growing and offer as many opportunities as possible to our students and their families.
And how does that work? How does it feel doing it with your sister? Like doing it side by side. And like you said, you've both got different skills, as in you bring very much, I mean, Gemma obviously did dabble in the arts as well when she was younger, but you bring the stage side of things, she brings the child development side of things and bringing that together to create this fusion. How was that?
It's been absolutely amazing. And, of course, initially it was a huge learning curve. But we've sort of really found our way, and I think we complement each other so well. We are such a team. We are so almost one person without being one person. And I think what's a real advantage and blessing again is that Gemma was working alongside Mum as manager. So there's many things that I didn't know because I've been away. I've lived in London since I was 19, so I haven't been there day to day. I've always come back. I've taught at many other Stagecoach schools in the network, workshops, but Gemma's been there on the ground. She knows the parents. She knows the structure of the year, when best to send out correspondence and all of those different things. So that's been a big learning curve for me. But I think it's just one of those things you lock in, hold on tight and say, right, let's go. And you get there and it seems to be working really well.
Yeah. And what's the comparison for you? Because there's an element of reward, or there's a major amount of reward that comes from being on the stage, stepping off every night, feeling whatever you feel about that show. Sometimes you have a good show, sometimes you don't. It's always a learning. You always feel proud of yourself in some sort of way. How would you what's the comparison, I suppose, to that when you finish Stagecoach every week?
Oh, I think on almost a weekly basis at the end of a Saturday, there will be a comment from a student or a parent, or I'll go in and watch somebody taking a Lambda exam or a private singing lesson and prepping for that exam. And there will be, just to see the students thriving. And there is always somebody. There was one just last week was our first week back, and we just had such a wonderful email from a mum saying, my child has always been overlooked and we feel like we found our place for them to express who they are and feel safe, and that they can express themselves in the biggest and most true way. And that is just incredible. We did an amazing summer school, and the end of our summer term we did our big musical, both of which I was just blown away of what was achieved. And I feel really silly saying that, because I know I'm there, I do it, I see them do it, and we say it every time, but they just raise the bar. Those students raise the bar every single time they're on stage. And what's incredible to see is that weekly training. When you see Amalgamate on stage in one production, that's the same as you doing your rehearsal process for 6 weeks and then doing the show and then getting to a press night and going, oh my gosh, we did it. Yeah. The difference is, we have 6 weeks, 6 days a week to do it, and then we have a year run.
So speaking of children, young people, let's talk about you as a child. And so what we're going to do at this point in the podcast is we go to the prop basket. Okay. And in the prop basket, there is an item that you've brought along today that is significant in whether it be your childhood or even today, something that you still refer to from time to time.
Okay.
So having a little look inside here, what did you put in the prop basket today?
This one.
And so there's quite a significant story to this, isn't there?
Yes.
Which weirdly is one of my other questions, because I remembered a little story that you once told about Whistle Down the Wind.
Yeah.
Take it away. So for everybody who's listening and not watching, Sophie's brought with her a Whistle Down the Wind. Is it the
It's the libretto, yes.
It's the libretto book.
Yeah, so it's my libretto, and I can't believe I've still got it. It's got my name, if anybody's...
That's
Sophie
really
name.
Good writing.
I know, thank you very much. I was only 6. This is really, really significant. I feel this is probably my earliest memory of going. There's 2. There's this one, and I'll talk about the other one. Very fortunately, in Cheltenham, we have an amazing arts. What's the word? There's just many, many opportunities for the arts in Cheltenham, which is incredible. And we used to have there was a professional amateur link between the Everyman Theatre, and every summer they would put on a show where they would have professional adult actors, and then they would use the community and the young adults and young people in the community to provide children in the show, the ensemble. My sister at the time very much was. She was all singing, all dancing, let's go. And she was fantastic. So she had done Annie the previous year, and the visceral memory of her crying when that show finished, and I was only about 6. I was like, what is going on here? She says she's happy, but she's bawling. I don't get it. So that was Annie. The next year was Whistle Down the Wind. Now, at the time, we didn't own Stagecoach, and my mum and dad owned a day nursery in Cheltenham, and Gemma was going to the audition for this, but mum and dad needed somewhere for me to be because of childcare issues. So, just go along to the audition as well. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I went along, Gemma went along, and I didn't know what I had to prepare or anything else. And I sang Happy Birthday. And they asked me to sing it in a happy way and a sad way, and that was about it. Anyway, I ended up getting a role in the show, and I then understood the tears of my sister the previous year with Annie when it finished. And it was just the most amazing summer. We did it for the whole summer. It was this show. And I think it just goes to prove how important those grassroots moments are for people and how it shapes the rest of their lives, whether they go into performing professionally or whether it's a summer that they remember and they had the best time and they made friends for life. Both of those things are equally important. So yes, that's why I've kept it all of these years, and it's got my...
What part did you play?
I played Elizabeth.
Okay.
So it's very different to the Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes.
Yes, but it's incredible, and I wish they would.
Is it a bit more true to the film, the Hayley
It's
Mills?
the film.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Which I was obsessed with as well. I know, John.
Yeah.
The whole thought of Jesus living in the barn and reading the newspaper as a story.
I mean, they built a Revolve.
Oh, wow.
For it. It was unbelievable. It was so brilliant. And the director, Sheila Mander, I still know now, she was a formidable woman. So yes, that's that. The other thing I would have wanted to bring was, and this was that was one big turning point. And then the other one was when I was 13 and I was in the Stagecoach Joseph Choir.
Oh.
Which we did every year.
Yes.
Again, the most amazing highlight. We do have the state, because mum hasn't thrown anything from the 25 years that we've owned Stagecoach. So we've still got those T-shirts somewhere. If I'd have been able to find one, I would have brought one with me. But I remember being on stage and the penny dropping and going, oh, this is their job. This is what they do. Is they're not, oh, fine, I'm in. Yeah. And it was that moment that I absolutely said, right.
This is what you could do for work.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was because of Stagecoach.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And is there anything in particular that so thinking back to that summer when you were in Whistledown,
yes.
Is there anything that sits with you as you go through your day to day, or you go, I don't know, you're in a show or something like that, and you go back to that moment and think, oh, I learned that skill whilst I was doing that as a young child?
I think it's the company aspect of it that's so important, and being a company member and a team member, and it not just being about you and everybody's roles and tracks, whether you're in the ensemble, whether you are the lead role, whether you've got a name, everybody is equally important within that show, and building that together, I think, is probably the biggest and best lesson that I took from it, and shapes how I principal at Stagecoach, how I teach workshops, how I am as a company member in a show.
It's important, isn't it? It's that teamwork element that not many people realise. They think performers are all out for themselves, but really, when it comes to it, it's all of that graft that goes into everybody knowing exactly where everybody else is at one time that makes a massive success.
And I think even more so because I've been lucky enough to be part of lots of shows that have been built from workshop to the first day, even understanding your stage management, the general management, the producers, the tech crew, all of those people, because none of it would happen without every single person creating that show that you happen to be in on stage every night.
Everybody has that vital part. Yeah, absolutely. And how would you say that reflects into your Stagecoach business?
Creating a really respectful and safe environment where nobody is above or below anybody else. From teachers, from principals to teachers to our students, we are a team, and and it's about community and family.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Like a family. Would it be fair to say that your past experiences in the arts as a child, as an adult, as a performer, as a principal, do they all feed into how disciplined you are? Because if anyone were to look at your social media, Instagram in particular, you are incredibly disciplined. You are very much into your health, fitness, well-being. I think you run a silly amount every morning or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Through fields with cows, down streets, coffee in hand, water in hand, whatever it may be, you're out there and you are making sure that you're looking after yourself. Where did that come from?
That was from the business, really. And I think, and ironically, and I didn't know you were going to ask this question, I did a class yesterday morning, and a fellow performer was in the class, and we ended up getting paired and working out together. And I was like, there are two no more competitive for themselves, not against it, for themselves, and doing the best and lifting the heaviest and pushing themselves the most than two performers working out together. And it's just sort of a common trait, I guess, within us. And for me, it comes from two places. I need to be at the top of my game. It's like being an athlete, whether you're in work or out of work, because the time you're in the job, you need to be on top of your game so that you don't get injured and you don't get sick. Obviously, there are times where you do, but you've got to show up for yourself in the best possible way so that you can give the best possible performance every night. You've also got to do that when you're out of work so that any audition that comes your way, you are at peak
You are
readiness to go and nail that audition,
Yeah.
which might be life-changing. Discipline makes me feel good. Structure, I love. The running really came from taking the job, the Rocky Horror Show, and it was an international tour. And I'd done a UK tour before, but I'd never done. It was 9 months on the road, and I was absolutely terrified. And because I'm so family orientated, I was really scared about being away for that long. And the closer we got to leaving the country, the more anxious I felt. And the running actually came from processing that anxiety and those worries. And then the fitness came afterwards.
How does that work when you're on the road for like 9 months? And say if you do, were there gyms in the hotels you're staying in and stuff like that? Or would you just kind of go out and explore and go for a run?
It would depend on the city. We opened in Cologne in Germany, and it is one of the most beautiful places and one of the most beautiful places to run. So it depends on the place. We were in hotels, so we did have gyms, thank the Lord, because when you're in a country and you don't speak the language, it's really limiting. Other than the show you're doing that evening, what do you do with your day?
Yeah.
And it's a really good way to fill your time.
And do you find that now, because for the last few years, obviously you've been a mum.
Yes.
And so that's another thing to throw into the equation and another thing to balance. Yeah. So I'm guessing the discipline must really help in that situation. What have you had to adapt to the most now, juggling all these 3 areas? Well, let's say 4 areas of your life, because you've got performer, we've got Stagecoach Principal, we've got mum, and then we've got Sophie.
Yes.
So how do you balance all those 4 areas?
I think it's taken probably until about this point where I feel a bit like each one of those cups is kind of balanced. Sometimes some more than others at different times. Structure and discipline is a massive one. I unfortunately can't get up every morning and run for an hour, which I'm devastated about. It will change. But it's the biggest thing, because I also a personal trainer as well. The biggest thing I say to people is do what you can when you can and control what is within your capability. So if you've only got 10 minutes, do 10 minutes of exercise. It's better than nothing.
Better than nothing, yeah, absolutely.
With Zane, thank the Lord, he's an amazing sleeper. So I will get up before he wakes up in the morning and either start working or do some exercise, because I know that although, yes, I don't wake up and I'm like, here we go, I am tired. I know it's going to set me up better for the day and I'm going to have a better day for that.
There's that thing, isn't there, that they say that if you can't do anything else, get up in the morning and make your bed.
Oh,
because then you've made your bed and you've achieved something in the day. At least when you walk back into the bedroom later, it's all cozy. I have this weird thing where I have to do all of my housework in the evening, because coming out of the bedroom in the morning, I want to see a cozy, tidy house.
Yes.
And it makes me feel good. And that I can then use the day as I want to without thinking, oh, I've got to do the washing up or I've got something else to do. With that being said, everything to do with how disciplined you are, how fit and healthy you are, and looking after yourself, that must have really come into play when it came to the point where you auditioned for Six. Because that was a real crazy time, wasn't it? Because it almost didn't happen. Then it did happen, but you were doing something else major at the same time. Talk us through that story of how the opportunity came about, and how you managed to stay on top of that, because it sounds absolutely crazy.
It was, and it was crazy, but one of the biggest highlights of my career. So I, before that, was lucky enough to be playing Goldilocks at the London Palladium, their pantomime that year, which was such a huge dream. And I was so lucky to be a part of it in that role. The cast were incredible. Honestly, I would do that job over and over. It was amazing. When I told my dad I'd got it, he cried, and it's one of the only times, and I think it's because it's the Palladium, and I was playing Goldilocks it was all of those things. Yeah, it was crazy. So we were doing that. Anyway, I was not called into rehearsals. It was a Monday. I get a call from my agent. I'm in M&S buying mince pies.
It's Christmas.
It was Christmas.
Yeah.
And she said, right, Soph, how would you feel about auditioning for Six? Now, I will confess, I hadn't seen the show at the time, but I knew about it. I knew the original girls in it. So I was aware. I've done Heathers, yeah. So it was similar timing and similar phenomenon and all of that stuff. So I knew about the show, and I said, yeah, of course. And she said, okay, great. So, but they were only casting, it wasn't a full cast change, it was just for Catherine Howard. So I went in, and there was a very small number of us that went in for it. We didn't hear anything for a while, so I was like, okay, fine. I was rehearsing for, we hadn't opened Goldilocks yet, so we were just going into tech. Then they called and said they'd love the musical supervisor to see you, and then they're going to film the audition, but they're worried about the schedule because they would need you to be ready on stage to open the Tuesday after I'd finished Panto on the Sunday, and it was to play from that following Tuesday. It's like, well, I'm free. I will have finished Panto, which my agent said, yes, but rehearsals. And I was like, it's fine. I don't know where this came from or why. Somebody once said to me, a good friend, Scott Garnham, I did Made in Dagenham with, and he said, asking for permission is asking for somebody to say no. So I was like, right, I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm going to solve this problem for them. So I took it upon myself to write a schedule of all of my free time and when we could rehearse. I was like, there you go. Perfect. And I was very lucky. I had some, the producer of the Panto, Michael Harrison, who I adore. He is incredible, one of the most amazing producers, but kindest human beings. And it's very rare that you get that relationship with a producer. He was wonderful, really, really supportive. And, you know, he's got a huge show and I'm playing Goldilocks in it. He could have, you know, very, very rightly turned around and said, Sophie, I can't let you do this. I've got to look after my show. But he didn't. He trusted me. Some other people did the same. So I did this audition. We sent the time and they went for it. And it was amazing. So then the craziness started.
So you're rehearsing for 6 in the daytime.
Yeah.
Performing the Palladium Panto in the evening.
Yeah. And if you think the Panto as well, it's 2 shows every day. Yeah. So I am called to the theatre for 1 p.m. every day for warm-up to be ready for a show at 2:30. 2 shows. Show came down at about 10:15. Home by 11:30, 12 o'clock, midnight. Bed. Then I would get up and I would rehearse from either 9 or 10 a.m. and do 3 or 4 hours before rehearsals. So we had a studio opposite Selfridges on Oxford Street. I'd finish there, run up to the Palladium and go. And in the moments where I was like, I don't think I know my name, I am so tired, I just thought of, 6-year-old Sophie in Whistle Down the Wind going, this is unbelievable. Like, this is literally the stuff that you dream about. You dream about one West End show, and I was doing 2 at the same time. It was honestly incredible. It was the most grueling thing I've ever been through, but the most fulfilling.
I was going to say, look at the reward.
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. And what a gift to be so supported and have so much faith from the people that are running both of those 2 shows to say, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Which says a lot about you. Well, it says a lot about you as a person, because people clearly felt, right, we can trust her. This is good. There's not everybody they would do that for.
No.
So you're headlining in the Palladium Panto, which is like a massive, big deal at Christmas. So you've got you happening in play and then moving straight into an absolutely epic show, which has taken the West End and Broadway by storm. Yeah. It's gone everywhere. Yeah. It's gone absolutely nuts, because I think it's very much been the first of its kind 6, a much shorter show in the style of a concert. It's very appealing to people who know about the Tudors, but at the same time, it's very appealing to young people who just love musical theatre and love music. Mm-hmm. So how did that feel, being one of those 6 characters that carry that whole story and being part of that?
I think a blessing was I didn't have time to think about that.
Yeah.
Because what my biggest thing was, I need to be ready for opening night and I need to do a good job. So all of the other stuff, I didn't let in. I was aware of it, but I just didn't let it in because I felt such a huge privilege, but also pressure to do a good job. Because the fans would have told me if I didn't.
Yes.
And not the fans of the show, that beloved character, and all of them are. I didn't think about it. And then I guess it sort of sunk in, but I think, fortunately, it was almost like I'd had training from Heathers, because when we opened Heathers, that was a first of its kind, with the following that it had.
Very cult, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, after Heathers, I would sit and sign every night for at least an hour and meet all of those people that, we were lucky enough to be in a job because those people were buying the tickets. So I think I'd had a bit of training. So I think the enormity of it wasn't necessarily as overwhelming as it could have been. And with Heathers, what was incredible is we had Andy Fickman leading us, and he really was very integral in our understanding of what it is we're about to experience and how to handle it, and ultimately be grateful, because it doesn't happen. Some people never experience that in a whole career.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because it is one of the, don't get me wrong, there's some amazing musicals out there. And then you look at some of the classics which fill every night. So I remember when Anything Goes was on, everybody would be in there because it's feel good. Everybody loves a bit of tap. As much as it was great, you wouldn't have the amount of people around stage door at the end of it as what you did for Six and for Heathers.
Yeah.
How did it feel to walk out of the door and just kind of, did you ever sort of have because I know you're a fan of Celine Dion, aren't you? Yeah. Did you ever sort of have your moment where you've put your shades on and have your Celine Dion moment as you walk out?
No, it was, I think, firstly, to get an applause at the end of your job is incredible. But then to meet people after that and them do it again is incredible. It is amazing. And I suppose it's a little bit in line with Stagecoach. When a parent says to you, Stagecoach has changed my daughter or son's life, either it's helped them because they were having a difficult time at school and they found friends and their people, or it's changed their life because it shaped their life. You have the same moment when you meet somebody at stage door that said, this show is my safe place. These songs that you sing speak to me and who I am and what I'm possibly dealing with. And so I guess it does reflect both of those things. It's amazing.
In particular, I came to watch Six.
Yeah.
And it was the night when all of you guys in the cast were leaving.
Yes.
That was probably the most phenomenal feeling in the world, because I'd seen it before and it was fantastic. But the standing ovation and the roar of applause after each and every... Because anyone who hasn't seen the show, each queen gets their solo song, don't they? Their real moment to sort of tell the story through song. And at the end of every song, there was the most epic... It was insane, to the point where it was adding minutes onto the end of the show because everybody just wouldn't stop cheering. How did that feel?
Oh, you felt like a rock star. It was unbelievable. And I think in those moments, you just want to soak it up. But ironically, I was also rehearsing for Panto again at the Palladium at the same time. So it was really full circle, but in reverse. So it was, you felt like a rock star, definitely. And I think I also, to just feel that mutual love of something, it's rare. And I suppose concerts and music and live performance is one of the only spaces you get that. Maybe when you watch sport is another place, but that mutual, like,
they're in it together.
Amazing. Yeah. I love it as much as you. I'm singing it, but I love it as much as you do.
And brilliantly camp, because the last little moment of when you're playing Catherine Howard, the song All I Want to Do, that last shot is literally just your head, spotlight, and then like raucous applause. It's really, really good fun. If you weren't to have played that queen,
yes,
which other queen would you have liked to have played?
I think all of them for different reasons. I think Anne Boleyn would have been really fun. She's got the song is fantastic. I love the costume and those cutting lines. But I always thought, actually, Seymour for Heart of Stone, and I actually got to sing it recently.
I saw this.
And it's just beautiful. But also I always loved Catherine Parr's song, because the journey of that, and it's just so beautiful and so well written.
Definitely tell some good stories.
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of them are very relative to modern day still.
Yeah, absolutely.
The experiences that people go through. A conversation then about your current work and projects.
Yeah.
So we've talked a bit about Stagecoach and what you're doing there. What else is happening in the world of Sophie Isaacs at the moment?
So obviously mum life is a busy old life.
Yeah.
So that takes up the majority of the time. And I'm so fortunate that I do spend every single waking second with my son, because it's not going to last forever. He will go off to school and that won't happen. So soaking those years and moments up is incredibly important. We've inherited my mum's 2 crazy dogs.
Yeah.
So they take up, I have 3 toddlers most of the time. They take up a lot of time. I'm personal training. So I have online clients that I coach through their fitness and their health journey, which is amazing and actually keeps me much more accountable, because it reminds me of the things I need to do, which I love. And then I'm doing more concerts. I've got 2 concerts booked for next year, raising money for my mum and the charities that were closest to her, but a chance to perform myself with friends. So that they're going to be really exciting, just to sort of keep performing and dipping my toe. And
keeping your hand in.
Yeah, and I think at the moment, for the next few years, it's still going to be lots of juggle rather than one contract in the West End for a year. And I think actually I love, and fortunately I love, lots of fingers in different pies and keeping lots of balls in the air. And I think if you're going to be an actor, really think about that as a person, and if that suits you, because more often than not, the thing that you love the most, you're not going to be doing the most of the time.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing all the other things to facilitate doing that for however long.
Where did the fitness thing come into it? So you decided to start becoming a personal trainer?
I started it in 2018. My passion for fitness got greater and greater, and I was in Kinky Boots, and there were our dance captain was a personal trainer, and he was about to start working at a place called One Rebel, which is a little bit like Barry's boot camp. And I went there and I was like, oh, this is me. And I loved it. So then thought, right, what I'll do is train as a personal trainer so that when I'm not in work, I've almost got another career that can absolutely work alongside. The two go hand in hand. I love being fit. It helps my acting work. So it just seemed like a really good parallel path. So I started that. Then very fortunately got lots of work. So I had to pause the personal training stuff, take on the acting work. Then we went into lockdown, and the company that I was doing my training with went into liquidation. I was like, no. I then fell pregnant and said, if I don't do this training now before I have a baby, it'll be 5-6 years down the line. Yeah. So that was what really kicked me into completing that training. And I think I was about 32 weeks doing my final assessment.
Really?
Yeah. Which was hilarious.
Sounds crazy. But then I suppose you've got to make adjustments at that point as well. So there's certain things that you wouldn't have been able to do. And how did that go? Was that all okay?
It was fine, yeah. I think because I'd been training for so long anyway, I knew what to do, but I definitely couldn't have left it any later.
Yeah.
And I'm really so grateful that I did do it, because now as soon as I'd had Zane, I could put that into practice and use that qualification.
So thinking about Zane,
yeah,
what would you like to pass on to him in terms of traits? What would you like him to turn around when he's maybe an older teenager, 18, 19, maybe young adult, and say, do you know what? You taught me this and that is really serving me well?
I think it's that you can be and achieve anything that you want, and that a passion can be a career. And I think that's actually testament to my parents. I was born in the late 80s. There weren't that many people pursuing passions as careers. And I think to have two parents that were as open-minded as they were, to let Gemma and I explore everything that we enjoyed and then be able to support us in making those things careers is incredible. And I think that I would love Zane to know that is an opportunity for him if he wanted to. If he didn't, that's absolutely fine.
I think it's about giving children choice, isn't it?
Totally.
Nowadays, and you must get this all the time at Stagecoach. Do you have parents that come up to you, especially for those students who you can tell have really got that spark to perform? Do you get parents coming up to you and asking for advice of what they should do next and how to go about it? And what is the main thing that you go back with?
2 parts. 1, stay in education, get your A-levels, get to A-level stage. The other one is to do as much as you possibly can at a young age. Do everything. don't say no to anything, do all of the performance opportunities, do every style of dance, have singing lessons, take the acting classes, do a Stagecoach, because all of that experience feeds into what you do at the biggest probably crossroads when you leave A-levels and go and hopefully do a 3-year course.
Yeah, because that is child to adult, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Essentially, that's where you take that step into the big world. What are the challenges of being a Stagecoach principal? So what are the things, do you ever sit there and go, oh God, not this again? Or is there anything that you find particularly you don't enjoy doing? Hey, Gemma, you do this bit. Or anything along those lines?
So I think where Gemma is amazing and where I hope I will learn from her and get better is sort of being ahead of the game with what people want from your Stagecoach, what they want next in terms of performance opportunities or extra, industry day workshops, what our next shows should be. So sort of being ahead of those things, I think, is something that I would like to get better with. Gemma's amazing at talking to parents. I love talking to parents, but she, dealing with a myriad of different situations that you have to deal with on a weekly basis with Stagecoach. She's incredible, but she's got, 15 years of running a very busy, successful day nursery and being at Stagecoach and being a mum herself. I've only just become a mum. So I think the more you as a parent have those conversations with teachers or practitioners, whoever it is, I then think I will get better in doing that. But I have my experience in that realm isn't there at all, on a very, very basic level.
Let's talk a little bit about Hollyoaks.
Oh, okay.
So you've had experience in front of the camera,
Mm-hmm.
being in television and obviously in theatre as well. How do they vary for you? So was there anything while you were doing Hollyoaks you go, oh, I really miss being on the stage, and vice versa?
I was just petrified the entire time.
Oh, really?
So I'd only just graduated from college. I'd done one panto and then I got Hollyoaks. And I was a huge Hollyoaks fan at the time as well. We would come in from college and put it on. So I think, again, like the enormity of that was huge. And I trained in musical theatre. So it wasn't like if somebody asked me to come in and sing a song, I've got so much more experience to fall back on. Knowledge is power. So you feel immediately, yes, it's still nerve-wracking, but you feel more equipped to deal with that. I didn't feel equipped to be in front of a camera. I just had to really quickly learn on my feet. And it's that thing of saying yes and figuring it out later, which tends to be a bit of a theme in my life.
Take the risk.
Yeah. And go for it. And sort of trusting the casting team that if they didn't think I was up to it, they wouldn't have cast me. I loved being around the camera and seeing how all of the team fed into the whole shot and what that was. Being we were on location for the things I did, which was amazing as well. Instead of being on a set, you were in the real space, which was really exciting. The pace of it was terrifying.
It's quick,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine also did a stint on EastEnders as well.
Yeah.
And just said it is incredibly quick. Literally, they say go, and it's like, oh, I've barely had time to rehearse. Yeah, go, let's crack on.
And the process of that is really tricky because it's all about instinct, and theatre is all about instinct, but you find it in a very different way. You might try 3 different instincts and then choose the second one in theatre because you get the chance to play that scene that many times. With Hollyoaks, we came in, we stood in a circle, we ran our lines, we then rehearsed it with the director so we knew where we were going. We rehearsed it again for the DOP and made sure the lighting worked, and then we did a take. And hopefully the first one was good because they didn't have time to do it many more times.
Good. We have got some pre-recorded questions.
Okay.
So what we've decided to do with this podcast is, obviously, because Trafalgar Education looks after Stagecoach Performing Arts and Drama Kids, we have got a variety of students to ask our guest questions as well, which you've got on video. So the lovely Laura is going to hand us over a tablet.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. Got it.
Hi, my name's Nula. I'm 7 years old. And what is it that makes your job difficult?
I would say the biggest difficulty is the unpredictability and the ups and downs that you have to deal with. It is really difficult, and it took me a long time to, I think, understand and manage that. And I think the biggest thing I came away with is creating a fulfilled life without all of that fulfillment coming from the next job, being on stage, and being in a show. Because the reality is, you never know when the next show is coming.
Yep.
The more you do, the more jobs come, and it does get easier and better, but you just don't know. And also, and it's something I love comedians, Rob Beckett is one of my favourites, and it's something that he said on his podcast that really resonated with me, is comedians are in control of their own destiny in terms of they write the work, they create the work, and they put it out there. I have no control over what shows are going to be popular. So I was very fortunate when I came out of college, it was all of those commercial, high energy, very contemporary, very American shows. Hairspray, Legally Blonde, Kinky Boots.
Lots of jukebox stuff.
Yeah, and fortunately, because of the way I look, I think I was castable within that type of role. But had it been 15, 20 years ago and it was Phantom, Les Mis, Martingale, it wouldn't have been me, because I however hard I try, I'm never going to look that way. So I think not being in control of your own destiny is really tricky as well. I love teaching, so I knew that, yes, okay, I'd love to be on stage every Saturday, but I also love going to Stagecoach and teaching my students. And if you're teaching, I learned so much from teaching. I remember techniques, singing techniques, because I'm teaching students, but I would much rather use the training that I have invested in to impart that into other people than go and work in a bar or a coffee shop where the skill isn't transferable. Directly transferring those skills to other people that have a common interest. And then the teachers that you meet are going to be much more like-minded in that environment than they are in a coffee shop.
Yeah. By the sounds of it, you've got that down, though.
Yeah.
You are completely, we talked about that a bit earlier, the juggle, the resilience, being able to. Fab. I think there's one more question in there.
Yes, there is.
Hi, I'm Mia. I'm 15. And what was your biggest costume malfunction?
So I have two. The first is we did West End Live with Heathers. Nobody had seen a UK cast, the West End UK cast on stage.
So West End Live is the event that happens
in Trafalgar
every
Square.
June, Trafalgar Square, and it is basically a showcase of everything that's on in London at that point.
Yeah, and we hadn't opened yet, but we had sold out an 8-week run at the other Palace. So the pressure was on, and we were doing Candy Store. So I've got the yellow on, gorgeous. Stand there, absolutely terrified, because West End Live was one of my dreams. Before, I was like, I just want to do West End Live, it would be amazing. So literally, we did I like, and the popper at the top of my skirt went.
Oh no.
And I like are the first two words of the entire number.
So you've got another 3 or 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, of full choreography. And the only thing I could do was hope that the zip stayed up. Because if it didn't, I would have been shirt, pants, socks, shoes. Literally. So that's one of them. Luckily, there's no spoiler. The skirt stayed up. Okay. Thank the Lord.
Because there is something about that look, isn't there? Just shirt and socks. It's not the most desirable.
No.
But you had a bow in your hair, I'm guessing.
I did have a bow, so that would have distracted. And then the other one was here in Woking, where I was playing Cinderella, in Cinderella in the Panto that year. Another amazing job. Craig Revel-Horwood is just the most amazing man on the planet. I love
that. Was a brilliant panto as well.
It was amazing.
Like actual flying horses.
Yeah,
it was
I flew
crazy.
over the audience. It was incredible. So I come into the ball in the most enormous dress you have ever seen. And I am a teeny tiny lady. And this dress had, I think it was 7 skirts.
Wow.
And the biggest hoop. Looked incredible. I was so lucky, and I just literally felt like a princess. So Cinderella at the top of the stairs enters the ball. Everybody's looking up. I'm coming down the stairs and I can feel the petticoats of the skirt getting further and further underneath my feet with every step I take. And all I could do was just slowly sink to the ground in front of an entire, how many does it seat? Over 1,000.
Oh, easily.
1,500?
Yeah.
In front of all of those people, everyone, all of the ensemble, Craig, everyone was watching Cinderella come down the stairs, and I am on the floor, but I also can't get back up because I'm in all of these layers. So the prince has to come over and literally pick me up and pop me back. How we sung the next duet. Well, we didn't. We laughed. It was a very, very funny moment, but really, really good. And I mean, what better time for it to happen in a panto where people can just literally laugh at
All about
you.
laughing.
Yeah, and it was great.
Oh, two good stories. Two really good stories.
Good question.
Yeah.
Like that back.
Thank you very much to those lovely students who supplied those questions. What advice would you give to, and you might think about yourself as a parent here, but what advice would you give to parents to help build their confidence in young people or in their children?
There's two things that have immediately sprung to mind. One, I think children and young people are so much more capable than we give them credit for. And I think actually having confidence in their capability and not, obviously it needs to be age appropriate, but I think sometimes we think because they're children, they are less capable than they are. So I think that's something. I think one of the biggest things that I've learnt from seeing students at our school that have had really, really difficult times at school, not in Stagecoach, but normal education, is building self-esteem, because I truly feel and believe and have seen firsthand how detrimental low self-esteem can be to a child in terms of behaving badly, answering back, not listening, rebelling, whatever it might be, and however that might present. Actually, more often than not, low self-esteem is at the centre and is the root cause to that. And if a child is secure in their esteem and who they are, and they feel valued and they feel enough, their ability to achieve anything, whether it's at school, at Stagecoach, with their peers, is infinite. And I think it's so, so important. And it's something as a parent I want to instill in my child. Probably one of the biggest things that I want to instill.
It drives me mad that they refer to things that we talk about, and what we're talking about now is really, really important. But things, they're known as soft skills. And I think the word soft really does it a discredit, because actually these are the things that are going to get you through doors. These are the things that are going to make you feel comfortable to go for an interview, and just feel comfortable in yourself as well, which is half of the challenge sometimes.
Yeah, there's no point in being really, really book smart and not being able to have a conversation with somebody, in my opinion. There's so many essential skills, and going through life is about people and interacting with people and doing that well. And I think actually being in a dressing room with a complete array of different people, and the skills that things like Stagecoach and being on stage help you to deal with that chemistry and that balance. And no, they might not be your best friend, but you see them every day, and that can be in a corporate world as a work colleague and to get the best out of each other, or it can be in a dressing room and you're going on stage every night with each other.
So this next part that we are going to do, so we have a little segment at the end.
Okay.
So we have a curtain call, obviously leaning into our theatre roots here at Trafalgar. Something that you're proud of that you wish that more people knew about you, or something you would like to be known for?
Oh, that's so tricky. I think being a mum is one of the most amazing things. Look, I don't share my son sort of on social media, so people might, oh my gosh, you've got a 2-year-old. Yes, I do. I think that is something I'm really, really proud of. And I think something that people don't know I'm struggling with, because I'm a bit of an open book.
Yeah.
I think my ability to juggle multiple things is something that I'm possibly most proud of. And I think that's probably learnt from two parents that were self-employed our entire lives, and keeping the juggle going. I think that's probably something that is a robust skill.
Yeah, you're definitely a multitasker, aren't you? You can definitely do a little bit of everything, which is fantastic. The second part of this is your encore. So if you were to revisit a moment in your life, whether that be to just be in that moment again, or to do it differently, what moment would that be?
Ooh. I think I would love to go back and relive the Goldilocks 6 scenario and just know that it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because I was so terrified that it wasn't going to be okay. And I think if I'd had a little bit more confidence and faith, I think I would have possibly... I did enjoy it. I loved it. But the fear of going, oh my gosh.
Because what it comes down to is, as a performer, you are your own product. And it is all down to you. So if something goes wrong, you're taking a whole big puzzle part out of that performance.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the terror was probably absolutely real. And you were in 2 shows, so that probably didn't help either. And just before you go, we have a gift for you. So for all of our guests on Performing in Life, we make sure you get a very nice, flashy poster of Performing in Life. So thank you so much for being our first ever guest. Round of applause, please, for Sophie Isaacs. Thanks for
so much. I could stay here all day and chat.
Yeah, I know.
Let's do a part 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Can we? Because how long have we... No, I'm joking. But that would be absolutely lovely. So definitely come back. Maybe this time next year we can get you back and it'll be a whole...
What's happened there?
Whole new chapter of how everything's gone at Stagecoach and what other things you've been doing.
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely brilliant.
Can I do can I give you a different encore
Yeah,
as well, or another one?
Yeah.
And I always forget about this, but when I got Made in Dagenham, which was my first West End credit, and I almost stopped performing and went away and retrained because I just wasn't getting that break. So I was called. I was living in Cheltenham at the time, and I got a call at like 9 a.m. from my agent, which doesn't happen, saying, Sophie, you need to be in London at 10. And I lived that far away. Yeah. You need to be in London because Rupert Gould, the director, is flying out to LA at midday, but he just wants to see a couple of you again because they're going to make decisions on casting. I was like, right, Dad, get in the car. Yeah. We're going. So he got me in the car and I made it. And we did a dance call, which was fine. And then they called a few of us back in. And I went in and the panel was at least 15 people.
Wow.
It was crazy. And I went in and Rupert was there. And we sang a few bits through and we did one of the scenes. And on the spot, he said, Sophie. I said, yeah. I said, you've got the job. And he told me in the room on the spot that I got the job in front of the entire team. And it never happens. It never happens. And I think I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. And I think because it was such a shock, I forget that it happened.
Yeah.
And it was the most incredible moment. And everyone they were all like cheering. And I was shell-shocked, but so overwhelmed. And it was unbelievable. So I think I would relive that moment.
I was going to say that tops it.
Definitely.
That's a brilliant one.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.